On December 12, 1900, an unprecedented psychic experiment took place at the Kobe District Court. In the courtroom, in the presence of Judge Iwi Nakano, an associate judge, prosecutors, attorneys, reporters from the Osaka Mainichi Shimbun, Osaka Asahi Shimbun, and other newspapers, as well as a packed audience, the defendant, Toshie Osanami, who was 37 years old at the time, performed an experiment to extract divine water from thin air, a substance said to cure all illnesses. During this period, Japan was undergoing the Meiji Restoration, a period of full westernization, and practicing medicine required a valid medical license which Toshie did not possess. As a result, Toshie Osanami had been accused of fraud. Judge Nakano wasn't concerned about Toshie's medical license, but rather inquired about the existence of the divine water. However, the courtroom was a space for presenting evidence. Nakano posed the question of whether Toshie could produce the divine water within the court. Toshie firmly responded, "It's simple, but provide a place where I can conceal myself." In response, the judge declared an adjournment, and the divine water test was arranged on the spot. The court directed Toshie to disrobe and undergo an examination by court-appointed personnel to ensure she hadn't hidden anything in her clothes. A vacant phone room was chosen as the testing venue, and the court supplied the testing bottle. With these precautions in place, the likelihood of cheating in this test could be considered nearly zero. With everything in place and all eyes on her, Nakano handed Toshie a sealed bottle. Toshie accepted the empty bottle from the presiding judge with both arms and held it reverently above her head. She then made a slight bowing motion to the people observing the experiment before quietly walking into the phone booth. Shortly after entering the phone booth, a mysterious sound emanated faintly from inside. There was a suggestion that Toshie was chanting some kind of sutra, but that wasn't all. A faint tone, reminiscent of a flute, could also be heard, although it wasn't distinct due to the doors separating them. This tone gradually grew louder. According to her brother, this tone was an ethereal sound indicating that a deity had descended to Toshie. By the time she emerged with the sealed bottle containing a brown liquid, only 2 minutes had passed. Judge Nakano proceeded to question Toshie, inquiring about the healing effects of the water from this bottle. Toshie replied, "It can cure all diseases. I did not ask my deity to give me medicine for any particular illness." Nakano asked, "May I have this medicine?" Toshie responded, "Yes, sir." Afterward, the trial concluded, and Toshie was acquitted by the court. Judge Nakano left the courthouse with a bottle of divine water. It said that Nakano tasted the contents of the bottle and likened it to wine. Who is Toshie Osanami, and what's the story behind her legendary life? Born in 1863 in Tsuruoka, a tranquil small town in Yamagata Prefecture, Japan, Osanami Toshie had minimal education, and was an ordinary child during her early years. However, her life took a peculiar turn at the age of 20 when she began experiencing a perplexing phenomenon: she could no longer consume food normally. A mere few pieces of sweet potatoes or sips of water would induce vomiting. This puzzling condition raised concerns among her parents, who feared she might be afflicted with an unusual ailment. Seeking medical guidance, they consulted a doctor who found her pulse to be normal and her overall health to be excellent. As time passed, Toshie's condition only grew more concerning. Her ability to consume even sweet potatoes diminished and she eventually ceased drinking water altogether. Strikingly, she exhibited no outward signs of illness. In fact, her complexion seemed to radiate with increasing brilliance, and she appeared remarkably younger than her actual age. By the time she reached 25, her appearance resembled that of a 15-year-old, projecting an aura of innocence that remained with her until her passing. However, Toshie's extraordinary abilities extended far beyond her altered eating habits. She possessed a remarkable gift, the power to connect with the divine. During moments of deep concentration in prayer, she could summon diverse musical sounds that resonated through the air, audible to those around her. On occasions when inspiration struck her, she would express herself through writing and drawing, often using a pen as her creative instrument. Notably, her brother Yukichi once presented a painting of a bamboo squirrel crafted by Toshie to parapsychologists. These experts noted that the painting possessed qualities that could classify it as a first-class masterpiece, lauding its ink color, brushwork, and overall composition. Astonishingly, Toshie had never undergone formal training in the art of painting, her talents were entirely self-taught. Toshie's divine connection also endowed her with the ability to create a healing substance known as divine water. Those who consumed this water reportedly found relief from their ailments, leading many to seek her out for its miraculous curative properties. Those who sought to receive divine blessings were required to follow certain practices, including bathing, refraining from sexual intercourse, and abstaining from consuming foods like fish, meat, leeks, chives, and garlic. During the mentioned period, Toshie resided in Osaka alongside her younger brother. In 1900, she journeyed from her native Yamagata to Osaka, accompanied by her brother Yukichi, with the intention of having her enigmatic psychic abilities authenticated at Kyoto University. The room where Toshie performed her rituals to summon the divine water was situated on the second floor of her dwelling. Patients would enter this room, and Toshie would discern their ailments. After receiving a vial from each patient, she instructed them to write their names on the vials, seal them, and place them on an altar within her house. The table in the room was adorned with an array of bottles and containers. Kneeling before the table, Toshie would initiate her prayers. Approximately 10 minutes later, the bottles would contain liquids of diverse colors and quantities, ranging from red, blue, and yellow to even rainbow-like hues. Patients would then consume the contents of their designated vials, with many reporting recovery from their afflictions. Remarkable accounts included instances of blind individuals regaining sight and those paralyzed due to strokes experiencing recovery. However, not everyone was able to receive the divine water. Some individuals' vials remained unaltered. These cases were deemed incurable. Even those who visited merely to test her psychic abilities found their vials empty. As the popularity of the divine water grew, it drew the attention of the police. Given that a previous examination of the divine water had revealed medicinal components mixed with water, the police conducted a thorough search of her apartment, scouring every corner in their pursuit of concealed drugs. However, their efforts yielded no evidence. Nonetheless, Toshie endured a 10-day period of confinement. Throughout her detention, the police were astounded by the miracles attributed to Toshie. For instance, they observed her abstaining from eating, drinking, and even using the restroom. Notably, her hair remained free of grease, her body emitted no unpleasant odors, and, in fact, a faint fragrance lingered around her. Even amid the mosquito-infested conditions of the prison, Toshie remained unbitten. On one occasion, she conjured a talisman, a sutra, a vial of divine water, and a powdered potion out of thin air to aid a fellow inmate who was unwell. In the wake of these events, Toshie's younger brother dispatched a certificate of truth to the prison authorities, seeking acknowledgement for his sister's miraculous feats within the prison walls. The intent was to counter the accusations of deceit that had been leveled against her. Although the jailer refrained from endorsing the certificate, he acknowledged the claims. Indeed, numerous inmates had borne witness to Toshie's remarkable displays of miraculous power. This incident made Toshie famous. Subsequently, media representatives initiated a public examination of Toshie to authenticate her abilities in July 1900. The outcomes of this examination were published in the influential media outlet of that era, the Osaka Asahi Shimbun, spanning a duration of 4 days. Although Toshie succeeded in producing the divine water, she required nearly 4 hours to do so, a significant departure from the typical 10 to 20 minutes. Furthermore, skepticism emerged due to the inability to observe her hands during the testing period. The unwarranted confinement and accusations of fraud deeply incensed her brother. With the Osaka court validating the 10-day detention as lawful, he invested substantial resources in engaging lawyers and escalated the case to the Kobe court, culminating in the verdict mentioned earlier in this video. Toshie returned to her hometown, where she resided until her passing in 1907, at the tender age of 43. 2 months before her departure, she predicted the exact time of her passing and peacefully passed away at the appointed moment. In the wake of Toshie's departure, the local community erected a monument to commemorate her within Nangakuji Temple in Yamagata Prefecture. Throughout her life, Toshie maintained a childlike innocence, treating people with kindness. On occasion, she harnessed her extraordinary powers to locate lost items. During her leisure moments, she delighted in activities like tug-of-war and wrestling, showcasing her exceptional strength. Even 3 or 4 larger individuals couldn't overpower her. One theory of the reason behind Toshie Osanami's manifestation of these mysterious powers is that she could have inherited them from one of her ancestors, Sugawara no Michishin, who came to be venerated in Shintoism as the god of learning, Tenma Tenjin.